Listen up or run for cover. Dropping knowledge from the people who have it to the people who need it. The real Brad Lee is dropping
What it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, folks, I got a real treat for you. As always, folks, this guy, business coach, best-selling author, world-class speaker. I'd like to say motivational because people get motivated, but just a speaker on general topics. Life-changing breakthrough mentor. He's got books coming out, the Yin Yang, Limitless, which is a best-selling book, The Straight Path to Real Estate Wealth. You accidentally made hundreds of millions in real estate transactions, probably even more than that maybe. What's your real estate portfolio?
We've done over $1 billion in total transactions.
Is that crazy or what?
You know what? It once seemed like a really big number, but where we're headed now and what real estate's doing, it better be a small number.
So a lot of people might pigeonhole this guy into the real estate world, even though, you know, he's done extremely well in it. He's actually outside the real estate world. If you want to find him on IG, Kris Krohn, K with a K, Kris K with a K, Krohn, Kris Krohn, and more importantly, YouTube channel. You got a YouTube channel that's got a shit ton of subscribers.
That's right.
It's all real estate there, or what are they learning?
It's real estate, it's business, it's life, it's personal development, it's just learning how to grow.
And what's that? Forward slash?
It's just my name, Kris Krohn.
YouTube / Kris Krohn, KRISKROHN. Well, welcome to the show, Kris. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you, Brad, appreciate it.
Dude, I don't know if you've ever heard Dropping Bombs, but all we do is sit here and shoot the shit, talk about situations and challenges that have occurred in the past and maybe how we got past them, or stories. And the Bomb Squad, who are my faithful listeners, they're just going to sit back, relax, enjoy the conversation, and hopefully pick up some way to get past the challenge they might have. And then, of course, they all share it out madly. So maybe someone they know will end up listening to it and picking up a bomb. Now, with you, dude, I mean, let's start with this book, Limitless. You know, that's the #1 bestseller. It teaches people basically how to break through and get out of their own way.
You know, Brad, I created all this wealth and everyone would say, Kris, how did you make all that money in business? How did you make all that money in real estate? And I wondered if I would ever get around to writing the book that contained the truth. And that book is the answer, which is I paid a couple $1 million to mentors to help me rewire my mind. Because none of us escapes childhood without, I can't, I'm a failure, I'm not going to make it, I'm too fat, I'm too dumb, I'm not fast enough. We have these limiting beliefs, and these limiting beliefs, they color our perception in a manner that we can only see what we're willing to believe. And if you can't systematically get rid of your own limitations, then you're going to have to live with them, and they're going to sabotage your results.
100%. Self-sabotage is one of the biggest problems I see out in the world. I got buddies of mine that can't break $100,000 a year. I got people that can't break $100,000 a month. But like, to me, I'm not one of those big, rich, fancy guys that like laughs at $100,000 a month because I make much more. It's like, dude, $100,000 a month, dude, you're living pretty well. If you can reach $100,000 a month, I think you're on your way. However, look at the guy making $100,000 a month. Why can't he make $1 million a month? Why can't he make 10 million? Something's holding him back. It's mindset. I think it's a belief.
Every single time.
It's a limitation, self-imposed, usually.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes we pick it up in trauma. I mean, if you ever had a parent that told you when you were young, we can't afford it, there begins this idea that money's limited, that money is scarce. And so when I wrote the book, I said, you know what? There are 4 main areas of life where we limit ourselves. We limit our own personal power, our confidence. We limit our bodies and our health. We limit our finances and our money. And when you look at these different areas, you can break it all down. So I spent years basically studying the top 10,000 beliefs that I think humans use to see life. And I started saying, wow, what are the top 1,000 limiting beliefs? And how do you overcome those? And that just became a personal journey for me, because every time I overcame a limiting belief, something healed, something got better. My body got healthier, my body got stronger, I lost fat, or my relationships became happier, I became more satisfied, and certainly made more money. Like, money for me, I got to a point where I was scared to make $1 million a year. That $100,000 a month that you're bringing up, I remember when I was in this mode where I was doubling my money every year. And so I was like, I started out in college making 20 grand. And I was like, man, if the average American makes more than that, I should double my income. Even if I double my income, I'll make less than the average American. And I believed that for 365 days. And I found a way to that year to double it. And so that year it became natural to double it again. The year after I doubled it, when I made $500,000, I was like, great, next year I'm just going to double it again. And all of a sudden I thought, wait a second, that's $1 million in a year. And there was this invisible ceiling and it made me afraid. And that year I did not double my income. And the year after I didn't. And I didn't for years until one of my mentors helped me realize that there was this mental stumbling block. When I faced it and I overcame it, that year I made $2 million.
And then boom.
Yep.
So who are your mentors?
Oh man, a lot of mentors over the years. Most recently, Tony Robbins had a chance to fly through all of his programs for a couple of years.
He's the king, dude, don't you think?
Dude, Tony he has so many useful hacks. He's been in the game for 40 years. So he's kind of the godfather of personal development at this point. So I knew at some point I was going to have to get with Tony. Garrett White was a huge mentor for me.
Garrett J.
Yes, Garrett J.
I like his shit.
He just tells it how it is. And, Garrett and I have a lot of fun memories together. Before he moved to California, he actually worked in my company. And as a trade, I got to mentor with him. It was really cool.
Well, dude, I like his stuff because, he tells it like it is.
Yeah.
I hear, I'm not sure because I've never been to one, but I hear when you go down there, you got to fucking get in a ring and fight somebody.
Oh, dude, everything is, I was pre that, but I look at his marketing today. I'm like, oh, good. He's just going to beat you up and get you out of your comfort zone, which is what any great mentor and coach does, right?
Yeah, but he doesn't beat you up. You fight each other.
Yes.
From what I hear.
Yes.
And again, I'm just thinking like, where's the, what kind of insurance does he have? Like, how does he get past the liability of making people fight?
He might just be taking a risk that says people are worth it.
Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Well, dude, what if, you get in a ring and there's some massive dude? Is the whole point of that getting you out of your comfort zone, breaking through your fears?
When people come into my mastermind program, at some point we put on what I call Warrior Day. And Warrior Day is literally where you are pinned down, held down, trapped, and there's only one way out. You have to dig deep enough, to care enough, to connect with who you really are, to actually fight. Because your body alone isn't strong enough. It's not until you really unite it with a will that says, I have to beat this. I have to overcome this. And I think there's something valuable in that. You push the body and it pushes the mind. You push the body, it pushes your heart, your emotions. You push the body, it pushes your soul. It can tear you open.
See, so you guys know what I mean now. Like, for example, I got this guy down here on a whole nother reason than dropping bombs. Right. You're teaching me, or he's helping me figure out basically this whole structure where if you're an influencer, if any of my buddies are listening to this and you're an influencer and you don't really know how to monetize what you're doing, dude, this guy's got a program that literally turns it into a complete system with all the freaking tactical step-by-step frameworks you can imagine. And then I find out, the dude also has this real estate empire where basically if you got money, you want him to do the work. Shit, throw your money. You got, I don't even know what they're called, hedge funds, or, you got accounts where you're partners with a lot of people buying real estate with you. You can teach them how to do it on their own. You got a real estate book called The Straight Path to Real Estate Wealth. What's more, like, what do you spend more time doing? Helping people like build, kick-ass marketing programs or real estate?
Right now I automate everything that can be automated because we only have so much time. And I've learned at my age now, time is everything. And it just, an hour of my time is so valuable. Getting on a plane and coming out here, I was so excited because I can't remember the last time I actually had a business trip, because normally the arbitrage on my time just doesn't feel worth it. So in real estate, I've got a team of 200 experts. We're building portfolios, buying properties almost every single day, but it's all automated. It's producing 25, 30% annual ROIs. And I'm almost completely removed from the process because it is fully automated that way. So yeah, I'm spending a lot more of my time helping influencers learn how to monetize their brands, learn how to, it's one thing to know how to drive traffic and pull people in and get them to listen to your podcast or watch you on YouTube or do all that. But at the end of the day, there's always 2% of your listeners that want to go next step. There's always 2% that want to go to the next level with you, that say, man, how do I get more proximity with Brad Lee? Like, how do I get more in his airspace? Because I just know that if I do, I'm called. If I do, I'm going to become a better human. If I do, I'm going to get more out of my life.
What brought you, like, what caused you to focus on systems? Seems like you're a systems and processes and data guy.
No, I think we spent enough time together that you probably see that correctly. I grew up with a dad who was a German immigrant. He came to this country and he was in construction. He was a master craftsman out of Germany. And my dad came to this country when he was 37 years old. And growing up, he said, son, I'm an entrepreneur. I work for myself. You need to get good grades. You go to college. You got to work for someone else. And that's when someone's going to take care of you. That's your golden parachute. That's what you should do. So my dad was telling me society's game plan. And he also said, son, if you want something done right, you should never do it yourself. So when I was in college and I wanted to be a doctor and I couldn't get the right grade in my chemistry class, I had to retake it. I got a worse grade on the second go around. And I finally listened to my advisor and I'm like, dude, 10 years medical school of chemistry is going to suck. So I let that dream go. And shortly after, I just decided, college really wasn't going to help me fulfill all my potential. And so I found some mentors that had made millions of dollars in real estate, caught the bug. And over a 4.5 year period of time, about 25 homes. So by the time I graduated college, I had a 6-figure residual income. I never needed to enter corporate America. And something happened right there. I was going crazy being a full-time student and having this full-time, job, trying to pay my bills and having my full-time business. And I was married. I married young. So all of that was just getting me to the point, Brad, where I was going crazy. And it all came to a head when I said, you know what, maybe dad was wrong. Maybe if you want it done right, you shouldn't do it yourself. And in that moment, I said, you know what, I'm going to freaking outsource everything that I possibly can. And all of a sudden, I discovered that I could be way more valuable. And that year, my portfolio went from 25 to 50 homes. But because I graduated, I lost that. I quit my job. I didn't need it anymore. And the real estate needed so little time from me. And I started realizing I can have success. I can have time and money. And money without time sucks. And all the time in the world without money, that also sucks. I want both. And that's when I said, I want to have it all. And so systems is the way to get there, because Brad, we're all lone wolves. Most of us are trained, if you want it done right, do it yourself. And so we put our head down and we just go, and we wake up 2 decades later with gray in our beard saying, how did I get here? And without leverage, what are we really going to accomplish? Are we going to accomplish something super meaningful? My experience is that without leverage, your life will be built around you and maybe your family, and you will struggle to take care of your own. But if you can figure out systems, processes, and leverage, then you can take care of 1,000 families. You could literally find solutions to global problems. Without leverage, we're screwed.
Yeah, it's a fact. I've learned that the hard way. One of my goals here very soon is the book comes out, Lessons I've Learned the Hard Way so you don't have to. And one of the lessons is how to scale, how to leverage. Like, I had a buddy of mine talking about, oh, you're such a big wig now, you're making all this money, why don't you show me how to do it? I said, well, what are you doing? I'm looking at him. Ultimately, he was getting paid to close, but he spent 4 days prospecting to spend 1 day closing. And that's where he made all his money. I said, well, dude, why don't you just hire someone to prospect for you?
That's so smart.
And he's like, ultimately at the end of the day, hired a virtual assistant, did a little training. Assistant did all the prospecting, set him up. So now he's closing 5 days a week.
Yes.
Then he had 2 virtual assistants, 3 virtual assistants. So he went from making like $500,000 to $2.5 million. And he's like, dude, you're a genius. And I'm like, dude, that's just leverage.
Yeah, it is. And Brad, I have a rule in my life. Anytime I want to add something into my life, I have to let something go. And the only way to let something go for me, if it's a good thing, is to outsource it. And so that means that anytime I tackle something new, my rule is I only get to do it for 90 days. And if after 90 days, I can't competently hand it off to someone better than me, then I won't start the project in the first place, because I don't want to be the artist. The artist gets screwed out of all their time. So I'll be the artist for 90 days max, and then I'm going to give it to somebody else, and I've got to step out. I got to reclaim my time, or else my creation stops, and there's no next. There's no evolution. There's no growth. Whatever isn't growing is dying.
Well, that's my problem here at Lightspeed, dude. I'm the artist. if I systematize that shit to where everybody would use it the way they should use it, and to where now I have it systematized where I can just, go on a stage and get everyone fired up. They come get Lightspeed and use it right.
Yeah.
Dude, I'd be a billionaire.
Dude, that's my biggest thing. I'm coming here. I'm like, man, why are you helping so many of these people? Because the system that you created is amazing. But so many of these people are requiring your hand holding. I'm like, man, how do we get these people showing up for themselves and also free up your time? I do think that's probably a part of your next.
I'd be a billionaire. 100% guaranteed. And I probably would have been there 5 years ago. Because a lot of times people will jump on Lightspeed, throw in their videos, go a year and say, well, I'm only doing X amount of dollars, Well, that's because number one, you didn't know how to promote it correctly. Number two, you didn't leverage the interactivity. Number three, you didn't, that's it. Number one and number two.
That's it.
You either didn't promote it correctly or you didn't leverage it correctly. Leverage is a factor in everything, I think, and it's a core of people making it. There's people listening to this right now. They're already successful, but successful to what degree? Like Tony Robbins would think I'm losing. Like if Tony had my money, he'd probably commit suicide. Well, he'd be deeply troubled. Yeah. And he'd probably be bankrupt because he couldn't survive his lifestyle.
No, there's no way.
So at the end of the day, and I make, I'm considered a success, especially in my family. Nobody's ever reached millionaire, let alone multi-millionaire in my family. I might take that back. I think my uncle might have. But at the end of the day, what is success? What does it look like? How do people figure that out? Because when they're chasing after Tony Robbins' lifestyle and they die broke and unfulfilled because they never reached it, isn't there a danger to that?
I think that the biggest danger is not really knowing who we are. So many of us are driven by significance. We're driven by, frankly, ego, right? It's like, I need this accolade. I need this next accomplishment. I need this next hit. And you can never get enough of what you don't need because what you don't need can never satisfy you. And if you really internalize what that means, you have to stop and reevaluate and say, all right, what actually then genuinely gives me lasting fulfillment? And I need to find a way to pursue that. But Brad, there's a problem with that advice. People are like, well, then I'm not going to do my job because 87% of us hate our job, which means people are going to go broke. So they can't afford to pursue what is meaningful. And that's where I say, you've got to build in leverage. Like a lot of people think I am the real estate guy, but here's what they really don't understand. Real estate is just a tool for money, just like business. And I need a certain amount of it to make sure that I can live my ideal lifestyle for me, my family, my 4 kids, my wife, and then be able to pursue what is meaningful.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people that would do the work, they don't know how.
Yeah.
And then there's people that like you that have figured out how, and you're enjoying life. So if someone's listening to this and they haven't figured out the how, could they just follow your model?
They could follow my model, but ultimately I think they have to find the right mentor.
How much?
Like you got to find someone that's figured it out, that you respect, that you want to learn from, and then you rock that model. You just copy them.
My question would be, how do you figure out what you want? I think that's harder than people think.
Yeah, I actually agree because I think sometimes it's also a moving target. I had this conversation with someone the other day, and they're one of my private students. They paid $250,000 to spend time with me. They flew in town, and they said, man, Kris, I said, what do you really want? And Eric says, man, I want to make so much money so that I can live off the land as a bum for a year and do nothing and be a hippie and grow my own food. And I said, wow, how much money do you think you need for what you've envisioned? He said, oh man, I probably need, $7 or $8 million. I said, hey, do you mind if I give you a shortcut? If you think you want that, first of all, you're probably wrong. You're fantasizing about something so far into the future. And by the way, if you're listening, we do this. We have these things that we claim we want, but what we really want is a small measure of it. And I said, what you should do? I said, you know what? How much do you think if someone else, if you don't have to buy the land, because by the way, if you're going to do it for 1 year, you don't have to own the land. Ownership is overrated. You need control. Like, how much would it cost for you to find someone that has the land that you could then live that way for a year? He said, oh, I'd probably only need $200,000. I said, bro, then when can you have that dream? And he checked in. He said, actually, financially, I could have that right now. Yeah. I'm like, Eric, you could live that life right now for a year. And guess what? You might find out in 1 month that you are full to that and done. Or after a year, you might say, this is more of like this is a long thing. I think we fantasize about things just like a new car, right? You finally get to drive that really nice, amazing car. And on day one, it's insane. The first week, it's amazing. But dude, by day 90, it's kind of just a vehicle most of the time. So the things that we dream about and the things that we want, I think they evolve and they shift. I think people should find a way to get what they want now, live a piece of it, get the fulfillment from it, and then evolve to find out what the new next is.
So when it comes to like lifestyle, houses, just lifestyle, when I hear lifestyle, I'm thinking about, like, would I be here talking to you right now if I had $1 billion? Well, I think so. Why? Well, because I'm doing this for a purpose. There's purpose. I would come here without being paid. This is something I would do. Purpose. However, would I come in here Lightspeed every day? No, I would not. Well, no, hell no. Dude, I'd hire you or somebody that's willing to be hired and say, sit there and figure this shit out and let me know I'll be over here. Now, the question is, what would I be over there doing? Because that I don't know. It's like, I almost feel like, maybe it's a midlife.
Yeah, it's
midlife crisis. Maybe I'm going through that.
Someone told me, they said, when you've made enough money that your lifestyle no longer changes, it can really impact the way you see yourself and your goals. And for the last 10 years, my lifestyle has not changed. My money keeps changing. I keep making more money, but the money I spend, I'm super content with the money I spend. And in the last few years, for me at least, Brad, that got me like kind of stuck. Like, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing with my time? And I had to really find a new balance. And it hit me last year. One of the top 100 YouTubers in the world, Grant Thompson, his channel's called The King of Random, was a buddy of mine, really, honestly, my best friend. And he was paragliding and he caught the wrong wind and he fell out of the sky and he died. And he left a beautiful wife and 4 kids. He'd be 40 years old now. He was, 38 and a half when it happened. And that moment really caused me to reflect. If I were done tomorrow like my friend, like what really is the most meaning? And I tried, I experimented. I literally walked from my business and I just went full-time family. And after about the first week was amazing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm on a staycation. Like I can do whatever I want with my time. But after spending time with my kids, by the second, third, fourth week, I'm like, oh, something is missing again. And I had to find a balance for me. And I don't know if I'll ever really find it, Brad, but right now what that balance means for me is I work about 20 to 30 hours a week. And that, if it's work that I love and I'm not stuck as the artist and I have leverage all around me, I have all the novelty I'm looking for, 20 to 30 hours actually creates a lot of joy and fulfillment and purpose in my life. But if I work more than that, I get grouchy. And if I work less than that, I get grouchy. So like for me, there's an amount of time for what I care about and my legacy and my mission and how I want to benefit the world. Some of my time is given to my charitable foundation. A lot of that time is given to my family. Some of the time is for me in a non-working environment. I think everyone's got to really ask, what do you want? And that's a question that I don't think we should ever stop asking.
Yeah, that's some good information. You got any tactical, like, I'm asking for me more than anything. You got any tactical, like, processes or systems to figure out what you want?
So I have a daily process to figure out how to have a fulfilling day. I don't have one for the week or for the year because at least in my situation, I crave so much uncertainty and novelty that I need to always be doing something different. Not everyone's built that way. So I found a system for me. It's called my power hour. It's what I do every morning. Okay. I wake up at 5 a.m. and I go to the gym. I surround myself. My wife's there. I've got a couple of buddies. We're super competitive.
Your wife's there?
My wife's there as well, yeah.
She gets her ass up at 5 a.m.?
It's amazing. It's amazing. That's probably only 4 days a week, though. Someone's laughing on the other side of the glass.
I heard someone laughing out there with that. But dude, like my wife, I tell her, I say, hey, let's work out. She's like, no, I'm not getting up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
How'd you get her to do that? She just is?
No, she isn't just is. She just felt it was her season.
All right.
But, a group of us get together in the morning. These are close buddies of mine, people I really respect. And we do 30 minutes of cardio.
How many buddies real quick?
It ranges between 4 and 8. People I respect, people with achievement.
Real quick, do you think people that fly solo, there's an issue somewhere? Like I know people that are successful. They don't have 4 to 8 buddies they hang out with.
Well, dude, listen, I'm an extrovert. There's extroverts and introverts. Extroverts get energy from being around people. Introverts get energy from being alone. One's not right. They're both valid. My wife's way more introverted. And so, I think when you see people like Robin Williams that off themselves after having the most successful career of their life, I think it's because they're isolated and alone. And that's just a guess, by the way, but I've been around enough successful people. And when you've achieved a modicum of success, if you don't have someone to share it with, if you don't have buddies to enjoy that with, for me, at least as an extrovert, my life gets really lonely. So for me, I don't go to the gym just to hang with buddies and people I respect. I go because I love how we push each other. The rule is 30 minutes of cardio, and you have to do more than the day before, which means we're always getting faster and stronger. There's more incline. When we lift, we're always pushing each other. Like, it's the most insane, amazing experience to strive for failure. We fail probably 20 or 30 times during our lift routine because we just can't do anymore. It's amazing. After I've worked my body in the morning, it's almost like I got to get all that energy out like a new young puppy. And then I go and meditate. And I meditate on the questions that are most important. And one of the questions that's pretty consistent is, what's the number one limiting belief getting in my way? Because if I can be aware of it and come out from underneath that, it really opens me up to succeed during the day. And then I also ask this question: what should I do today that will serve my highest and best self? And that's usually me leaving half of my day open and unstructured intentionally so that the answer to that question, the intuition, the gut that comes up, will feel that. So if I work out my body, get really connected there, and then get into my meditation mode, drop a prayer, that's a way for me to say, hey, my spirit got dominion over my body. I kicked my ass. I got myself up. I made life happen while everyone else is still asleep. And now I'm going to calm down and go inside and ask the questions. And I live my life by question. And if you can't ask questions, you can't learn. So I just love to ask questions. But those are two of the more meaningful ones that give me guidance and direction. And whatever I get that day, it might be email this person, it might be call that person, it might be serve this person, it might be help this person, it might be build this thing. As long as I honor some element of that day, I feel good inside. So that's a part of me getting fulfillment for the day.
5 a.m. workout, then meditate, then what?
After that, I'm connecting with my kids. Yep. So my kids are privately educated. They've been out of the school system for the last year and a half, pre-COVID and pandemic, just because my wife and I really believe we can do it better than the school system. And so part of the things that I love about that is I got one technically in high school and one in junior high and some in elementary. But since it's all private, we own our schedule, and the school system doesn't tell us how early they need to go where, which means that we have this amazing sacred hour every morning as a family. And we put on like this amazing breakfast, and we do life school lessons. We talk about what's important. We help them understand the world today. We answer their questions. We have discussions, and it's probably one of my most meaningful traditions, because what is most important should be done at the start of the day. Good intentions usually do not get completed by the end of a hectic day, and we're all busy. So my family is really important to me, which means I need that to be at the start of my day, but only after I've woken me up, after I've awoken my spirit and I'm ready to live this day.
You find most important at the beginning of the day, gets it knocked out. Usually the most important is the most difficult. Would you agree?
I'm not really sure, but
tackle the hard things first.
When I get a list of what I'm going to do that day, I will usually organize it by hardest to easiest, because I don't get fulfillment from checking things off a list. I get fulfillment from producing a result. And so I've just mentally trained myself. If it's hard, I'm excited, and that's what I'm going to do first.
And usually, do you think that's what the important things are?
Usually, yeah. The hardest things are the things that are the most meaningful and will produce the most. I think that the reason why we don't do them is either because we're scared of them. There's often fear that is a part of that, or maybe some other negative emotion. That's why I asked the other question, what limiting belief is holding me back? Because I find it's like what they say about dentists and an apple a day, a breakthrough a day, like literally helps me feel amazing and on fire, which is a really simple process. I ask what limiting belief is holding me back. Something's going to come up, and I'm just going to ask, man, that's batshit crazy. Why would I be afraid of that? and I need to reorganize my life differently. So I'll come up right then and there with a positive replacement, a positive affirmation, and just say, that's my choice. No longer this old idea that's been with me probably from the beginning.
Notice you said, that's my choice. I always tell people, man, sometimes I don't say it the best way, but what I mean is it boils down to choices. Like you just said, I decide that's my choice. Right. It was a choice the whole time.
Yeah.
We're just not aware of it. There's people out there choosing to lose.
I don't think they see that though. I think victimhood, it's amazing. So the last 6 months I've gotten a large following on TikTok. It kind of surprised me because that channel I thought was for teeny boppers and dancing and goofing off. And so I've had some success there. And so once in a while I'll scroll through and just say, what's this whole TikTok thing about? Because my team, they do all this stuff for me. And once in a while you'll get, usually a girl, could be a guy, and they got a mopey face and they're having the words scroll across the screen about how someone hurt them and how they feel about it. And I'm like, and then I look at the views. Like 900,000 likes. And I'm like, man, it is so easy to be significant for the wrong thing or for a sad thing, because we all want to be seen. We all want to be accepted. That victimhood, I think is more popular today than it's ever been before.
Talk about TikTok for a minute. If someone were to start today, how would you promote that they get the fastest gains in the quickest amount of time?
TikTok is a fun channel. I think we do about 10 postings a day. My team does it. And I think the key to TikTok is it's got to be under 60 seconds. And then whatever the video is about, it's best if you put the words on the screen. And then you just stay on target and try to be I think creativity on TikTok is highly rewarded. It's a place where if your personality likes to be less structured or more visionary, more goof off, I think it thrives a little bit better there. I'm a fairly serious natured person. So, my team, shares all my serious crap, and somehow there's a following that likes it and watches it. But dude, TikTok is the fastest growing channel right now. So if a person is saying, wow, I want to get some influence in this world, don't start with Facebook, please. That's the bottom of the heap. And YouTube is a little bit of a heavier lift, takes a lot of organization and whatnot. But TikTok, you can whip out your camera and make a video and throw out a test and see if it works right now, and you'll get feedback in the next couple of hours.
So if I were to throw out my phone right now and just say, TikTok, you don't stop, blah, 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 put a headline on it or some text on it and post it, someone's going to see it, yes or no?
Yeah. Even
if no one's following you.
People are going to see it, but I believe in hacking the algorithm. So YouTube, Instagram, all the social out there, there are preferences by the platform that they want you to follow if they're going to suggest you to other people in the feed. And right now TikTok is saying, hey, and this is true of most platforms, if you consistently and regularly post, we will reward you by making sure people can see you.
So 10 times a day, that's part of that.
For me, yeah.
You think that's part of the growth strategy?
Well, I think that's how we got 500,000 followers in the last 6 months.
Is the frequency?
I think the frequency is 100%. Every channel has a frequency that's important. Like YouTube, you can't post a video a month and become anybody. YouTube says, we don't care about you. So you're not consistent. You're irregular. I post 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's never a Tuesday. It's never Thursday. It's never Saturday. It's never a Sunday. I'm telling YouTube. And when you tell YouTube 4 months in a row, this is how we roll, YouTube says, I trust you. By the way, it looks like people are liking you. You throw in a little bit of secret sauce with some keyword research, and all of a sudden, they're going to reward you. And so the question is, how do I get the platform to reward me? TikTok, they want to see a lot of content posted.
Really? Like an all-day thing. It's almost like a story.
Yeah. The good news is I don't have to shoot 10 TikToks a day. We just take all my other gear from like YouTube or whatnot and repurpose it.
Yeah, but you're doing it professionally and intelligently. There's a lot of people that I think could do it, guerrilla warfare. Like, in other words, it's going to take their time. But like, if I pull out my phone right now and do a TikTok, and then afterwards put some heading on there and stick it out there, I'd have to do that 10 times a day.
Well, and remember, YouTube is searchable everywhere for life. That piece, every video is like a living machine that never dies. And sometimes it gains more and more momentum with time. TikTok's here today, and in 2 days, the video is gone. No one's seen that video after 2-3 days.
Really?
So it has a very, very short lifespan. It's like Instagram, right?
I'm going to get in the TikTok game. Go find me at the real Brad Lee, because someone already took the real Brad Lee.
Jerk.
It's the real Brad Lee on TikTok. I'm going to start throwing some shit up there. I'm going to get some guidance from my man here, and let's see if we can't get, how long it take you? 6 months?
6 months for $500,000. I think you'll do it a lot faster than me.
Yeah, but $500,000 in 6 months, dude. That's huge. What's some of the biggest TikTok influencers?
Shoot, I don't even know.
Volume wise, millions?
Wrong question though, for me. Like, influencers is going to be one thing, and then goofing around is a total different thing, because there's people out there with 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 million subscribers that are just following them, but they're just having fun doing goofy stuff.
What about monetizing those followers?
Well, see, that's just it. TikTok just opened that up, but most people, my experience, like even my buddy Grant, who was the top 100 YouTuber in the world, I made more money than him, because most of these platform people don't really know how to monetize. And so, TikTok's actually super profitable for me, but you really have to drive people. Like you got to stay on target with letting people experience who you are, being authentic, sharing that advice, being a great influencer. And then, man, if they come back to the link in bio and like what they see there, they're going to engage. And there's a sales opportunity there.
Is it a link in bio on TikTok?
Mm-hmm. It is now. Wasn't 2 months ago.
No link.
Yep. Now there is.
Who owns TikTok? Did they have to sell it to some American company?
I think Microsoft, someone got involved. It had to be, they had to create some rules.
So it's not sucking out your data and giving it to the Chinese?
Supposedly not, but now we're just giving it to the Americans.
Well, I always say, who cares if they got your data? What are you, a spy?
Right.
Like, who gives a shit? So folks, if you're listening to this, you're thinking, man, dude, you just shot off 5 things you can help me with. Number 1, if you do not have the mindset right, dude, everything in your life's going like shit. Well, not like shit, but not as good as it could be. Real estate, literally all the way from teaching you exactly how to do it, coaching you through it, or throwing money in deals that they're returning, 20, 30% year over year. Or, dude, become or leverage your influence, your following. Can you teach anyone with a following to do it?
Oh yeah, that's pretty easy.
Where would someone go if they were listening to this real quick before I forget? Like, do you have a main website that everything is, or do they go to your YouTube channel? Where do you want them to go?
No, I think people would probably just have to go, probably hit me up on any of my social and find a way to get through the guard dog and just say, I'm an influencer and I want Kris Krohn's team to teach me how to freaking monetize my stuff, because I don't have a website. It's so niche and private. It's not really this full out warfare, program that I put out in the world. It's just it's something I love doing on the side. Right now I'm working with 100 influencers. We keep it pretty top secret because they're the stars. So it's just helping them rock it. Not
only that, but you're kind of like a nerd when it comes to data and processes.
I appreciate that, Brad. And I resemble that.
Yeah, but I'm like, where'd that come from?
I call it process mastery. A lot of people, they go through life and they love hearing things. They get inspired by something. For me, I'm like, okay, I want to know the pattern. Tony Robbins said, pattern recognition is everything. It's the ability to recognize patterns. So I hate the idea of just casting my nets out, effort, and then hoping I catch fish. I want to know how to systematically, predictably produce the result every single time without fail. So anytime I want something, I actually totally go into my nerd and I say, what is the tiniest, most granular piece that you can break this down to? You can't master anything until you understand it, because a master teaches. And a master has to be living it, which means they've been doing their Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours. So for me, if there's anything, like I could probably honestly teach, physique competition or like being healthy or eating healthy. I can't waste my time with that. It's just not one of my top 10, but I've mastered like 15 different things that I've paid my 10,000 hours for. And you can't get to that mastery, Brad, until you understand all the granular components. So, I think part of me is maybe built a little bit that way, but I also just leverage it intentionally and say, all right, like, hey, if I'm going to do this real estate strategy, okay, Kris, you say you can get 25, 30% consistently on your last 4,000 deals, last $1 billion of real estate. How'd you do that? Well, I can break that down step by step. And as a result, in the last 7 years, I haven't learned anything new. So I think we need to stay curious, Brad, and we need to say, how does that work? How does that work? How does that work? Because until you understand it, you can never teach it. And the people who teach it, make the biggest scores.
If you were sitting there thinking about, building a business, but you're kind of broke, you just got a normal job, just over broke, but you got a little savings in the bank, where would you go? How would you start?
I think everyone, whether you have a job you love or if you're part of the 87% that do not like what they do, I think everyone should have a side hustle. I think entrepreneurship was, at least in America, was the backbone of this country. Originally, we were all business owners. And then through the Industrial Revolution, got lulled into the system of working for others, which is cool. I need people to work for me. Like, you can find mission and purpose in that. But you know what's really dangerous, Brad, especially in today's post-COVID world, is trying to live on a single income. Like, Warren Buffett says, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I say, don't put all your income in one basket. I've got hundreds of sources of income. And if I were anyone listening here, if you don't have 5 sources of income, dude, you should seriously be terrified every night going to sleep, because you're relying on a thing and something's going to happen in the next 20 years that's going to disrupt that. So I don't want to waste my life with, check to check, maybe even financially getting ahead, but having that high level of risk of lack of diversification. So man, side hustle. Like, I've got 50 little side hustles, proven little businesses that make $2,000, $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 a month. And I'll have people that will come hit me up, find me and say, hey, Kris, I want one of those or 2 of those, or wow, I got 2 streams of income. Let's go to 4 or 5. And I'm happy for them when they figure out how to hack that and produce multiple streams of income. Because one, you're probably outproducing your bills significantly. You're saving more. That creates financial peace of mind. You can probably start taking some trips as soon as the government lets us, and start enjoying life a little bit more. Because money for me comes down to one thing: more money is more options. And I think that the people who have more options have a higher opportunity at a happier life, or at contentment, or at deeper fulfillment. Who here wouldn't want to write a check to someone like desperately in need, where you could literally change their life with money? A lot of people don't want to think that.
That's my big thing right there.
It's huge. Money doesn't make, money doesn't buy happiness. I'm like, dude, have you never met a destitute, human being where you could write a check and make a difference? Took my family to Kenya a few years ago on a mission, and I wanted my little kids to see that these clean water projects, or gifting a cow to a woman with no income, is a business in that country, and that little things can go such a long way. So yeah, everyone should awaken their entrepreneurial spirit for the sake of greater security, saving more, getting ahead. Most of us are financially screwed, honestly, just saying it.
Well, not only that, but besides just how many streams do you have, what type of stream is it? Because there's, earned income. You could have 50 earned income streams that are great for while you're earning, but what type of stream would be like? Is it earned or passive?
Yes.
Because to me, I asked my buddy the other day, he makes good money. I said, how much money are you making passively? Not much. I said, well, then you're broke. Yeah. Technically, you're broke. He has a Ferrari, he's got the house, he's got the lifestyle, but guess what? He has very little coming passively, which means if his earned shut down for any reason, he's effed. You need passive income. That's why I like the real estate model, because you go out and put a bunch of houses out there and start collecting rent. You have property management company doing the bitch work and the broken toilets and the chasing people down. People think that I don't have time to do that shit. There's property management companies you can employ where you don't do anything but the buy-in and the paying and the cashing in.
I think part of that, Brad, is society has got us so hooked on work for someone else and save your money in 401ks and IRAs and listen to Dave Ramsey and pay off your house. And for me, the problem with that is that if you take a look at all the single digit ROIs that these derivatives of the stock market produces, like, dude, a 401k produces 6% a year. An IRA produces 6-7% a year. The S&P 500 realistically is going to be closer to 7 or 8% on the 30-year average, which means if all of our money that we're working so hard to save and put away is earning single digits and then compounding at single digits, dude, in a working life, your money's going to double or triple, and that's it. Which is why most of us retire with maybe a couple $100,000, $300,000. I'm like, you're at the height of your average earning career, it's $83,000 a year that you're living on. So what's $250,000? 3 years? Dude, Modern medicine is going to keep you alive for decades. And if you don't have a solution to that, but society isn't teaching that. Financial planners don't teach that. So I personally love teaching people, hey, you got to figure out how to build a passive income. You got to figure out how to build your active income. And you got to do enough of it so that when the time comes, or hopefully long before, that you don't work, that you're covered in multiple ways.
Is real estate the best vehicle you found?
Well, so I got a book coming out. And this new book, I'm toying with the title ROI. And the subtitle, I think, is like the five financial secrets your financial planner will never tell you. And for me, I earn single-digit ROIs intelligently. I have double-digit ROIs, triple-digit, quadruple-digit, and infinite ROI. And that's the model I teach in the book. I'm telling people, listen, if you want to become wealthy, it may not be materialistically about Ferraris or nice cars. You might be about community or family or changing the world, or whatever your motivation is. You've got to get out of the stupid single-digit game, because you're screwed as long as you're participating in it, forfeiting your money like a lamb going to the slaughter, or giving your money. The financial planners are making money on you, whether you make or lose. And so in this model, my single-digit ROI, I do some cool things with life insurance and earn 6-7% on my money. I let it build up, and then I pull it out, and I put it into my double-digit ROI, which is real estate. And double digit on real estate, Brad, over a 20, 25-year working life, that can get you at least a few $1 million. You're going to be in a better position for retirement. So double digit ROI creates a solution to making sure your lifetime of working mattered. You graduate to triple digit with business, and now you can turn your money. You're not measuring it in years. You're measuring it in weeks and months. So business is where I go when I want active income that pays me way more than a job. Quadruple digit is me investing in me, because you can easily 10x your growth when you find mentors and coaches that can help you get the best out of you. And then infinite ROI is nothing more than a game of accessing money that's not yours, putting it to work and earning an infinite return. You put no money in and it gives you something back. That's the most powerful return you can have. So I believe people should have all 5 of those, not just single digit, which compounds into nearly nothing by the time we really need it.
You also are the only dude that I hear that buys single family only. You won't buy apartments?
Yeah, that's probably deeper into my nerd as to why. When I figured out I was too dumb to be a doctor, I found out that I was really good at math, like stats. I like numbers, because I was hanging out with this one dude that we were walking across town one way, and on the way back he said, we have to walk back a different way, it's faster. I said, are you kidding me? Mathematically, one of these ways is shorter. It's not shorter this way and then shorter that way. There's like one is better. So when I got my first real estate mentors, Brad, I would ask them, because they were doing flips and multifamily and commercial, all these different things. I said, well, what's best? And they gave me answers that I thought were kind of lame. Like, well, it's kind of just like whatever's in front of you that, you can make any deal kind of good. I'm like, no, I'm not satisfied. One of these is better. And they said, well, Kris, that's not fair. I said, why? He said, because if you say that best is defined by what makes the most money, that might also have the most risk. Or you might say, well, I don't care about the risk, but then the returns are too nominal. So I wrote an algorithm that said, you know what? I'm going to compare all real estate strategies against each other. I'm going to take commercial, flipping, wholesaling. I'm going to take it all and I'm going to compare 30 different strategies. That's what that Straight Path book is about. I give that away for free online everywhere, by the way. And in that,
Where do they get that?
Listen, if they just look up Kris Krohn anywhere, go to any of my YouTube videos, you can get a copy for free. It's in the link below.
Straight Path to Real Estate Wealth. Keep going.
Yeah. So I said, I have to know what is best. So I compared them all against each other, but the algorithm had to be customized to what I valued. And I created 6 standards. I said, whatever the best is going to be, it has to meet this criteria. It has to require the least time. It has to require the least risk. It has to require the least effort. It has to make the most money. It has to work in up and down markets, and it has to provide a service. And what emerged was single family homes bought below the median in the best markets for a 5 to 7 year hold. And mathematically, based on that 6 criteria, that beat anything. So I built my, that was like my theory. And then I bought my first 25 homes that became 50 and 100. And you know what, ever since then, based on my 6 criteria, anytime I've ever compared it to commercial, syndicates, funds, anything else, it never comes close in overall ROI, but also valuing how much I value my time, what my risk tolerances are. So today, I'm now working on, this next year we'll probably break 5,000 real estate transactions. And I can't quote unquote graduate to another model because I can't find anything comparatively, frankly, that's better. But now I have all this expertise on all of this. And so it's a machine now. I got 200 people that facilitate all this for me. So people with 401ks and IRAs, people that have stashed money under the mattress that are kind of sick and tired of society's low ROIs, they'll find me, they'll partner with me, we'll go out and do these deals, and they'll earn a superior double-digit ROI. And then when retirement comes around, they have enough. So that's one of the ways that I like to create value in the world.
What about the fact that if someone moves out of that house, it's empty? If you have a apartment complex, a couple of people move out, your payment's still getting made.
Well, you caught me on that, Brad. You're pretty much screwed if that happens.
Shut up. I know you got an answer.
No, actuaries, my friend, actuaries. So I know in this particular market that our vacancies are going to be 6%. So if I know that, I solve for that with what's called a sleep well at night account. So anytime I'm working with a new investor, they do fantasize the worst case scenario. They're like, oh, it's going to be empty forever. And then there's going to be a horrible tenant and someone's going to destroy my house. And I'm like, you know what? Here's what I know. When you buy a single family house under the median in this particular market, based on vacancies, average repairs, and all the data that we scrape and know, we're going to set up $10,000 in your bank account to manage this thing. And I call it a SWAN account, sleep well at night account. You buy your second house, you only need to add $5,000 to that. You buy your third house, add $5,000. Now you have $20,000. Go ahead and think of your worst case scenario. But after 1 year of managing these 3 properties, you're going to realize we'll never get even close to draining that account, and you feel better. And that's because honestly, the psychology of success in real estate is more important than the tactical understanding of how to win. Because, dude, I've seen so many people. I had this one couple. Can I share this? I had this couple that I had helped buy 2 homes with. This was after 2008 subprime bubble crisis, the Great Recession. And they bought these 2 homes in Phoenix. We bought them for like $100,000. They had been selling before the crash at like $280,000. They're like 3-year-old homes, like really new. We had them rented out, and this couple came into me like a year later, and they said, "Oh, Kris, we're so glad that you're here. Help us out. We are so terrified. We are just so scared." I said, "Well, geez, guys, what's going on?" They're like, "Well, we went into debt to buy these homes, and we're just scared about the debt." I said, "Okay, well, let me first of all, are they rented?" "Oh, yeah, they're both rented." "Okay, is there positive cash flow?" "Oh yeah, we're making about $700 a month positive between the 2 of them. That's great, but we're just nervous about the debt." I said, "Well, what's happened to the value?" "Oh man, Kris, they're both worth over $150,000. They've gone up to combined over $100,000. And then I turned to him, I said, "You know what? I'm going to solve this problem for you. I don't want you to be afraid. Why don't you just give the houses to me at the price you bought them for? I'll reimburse every dollar you've put into them. I'll just take them over." And I got the reaction I knew I would. They looked at me with this incredulity, like, "What are you talking about? These things have gone up in value, positive cash flow, tax benefits." I'm like, exactly. Like, make a choice. Be okay or sell them, because making money and having your mindset sucks. Fix your mindset, because your real estate is making you crazy money. I calculated their ROIs were like 40% on each of the homes that first year. So it's just like, man, it's not okay to do the right things and feel bad about it. And I think, Brad, people do that sometimes.
If you have the cash to purchase a house, should you leverage the bank's money or pay cash for it?
I would never pay cash.
So because there's a lot of people out there, me included, that I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm not going to borrow the money in case shit goes down, But when I started watching Grant and what he's doing, it's like, dude, he's leveraging the bank's money to make money, which is really the key. Is that the same with single family?
Well, let me ask you a question. Let's say you were at the beginning of your career and all you had was $200,000 in the bank, and you found this amazing investment property for $150,000. At that point in your life, with so little success and so little in the bank, would you honestly want to buy that investment property cash?
Well, again, my dumbass would.
Well,
so I wouldn't have a payment.
I think you might feel better having $200,000 in the bank rather than dropping that all the way down to $50,000. I think though, when you have millions,
I'd still have the equity of the home.
You do have the equity in the home, but now it's become fairly illiquid. So here's what I can tell you. When you run the math on property and it's paid off, you get a much lower ROI. I think my overall cap rate's around 12, 13, 14% on paid off real estate. I'm between 28 and 35% on leveraged real estate.
Simply because of that spread between what you have in it and what you're getting back, because you're basically leveraging the bank's money.
Let me like make it apples and apples, right? J.B. Shea was a French economist who had this great theory on how you build wealth. He said, creating wealth is nothing more than moving money from low yields to high yields. In today's near free money market, I can borrow from the bank on investment property under 4%. Like 3.25%, like something stupid low. And if you knew on your last 1,000 deals that you were pulling 28%, how would you feel borrowing at 3 and getting 28?
All day.
That's a positive arbitrage. So for me, I can't pay it off cash, but I will tell people there is a time to pay something cash. I say, when your assets are producing enough residual that all of your bills are covered by a long shot. Now, if you want to pay crap off, go ahead. But until you have, if you say, hey, Kris, well, I spend, I make $100,000 a year and I spend, unfortunately, kind of most of that. So my bills are $8,000 a month. I would say, great. When your assets produce $8,000 a month, maybe $10,000 a month, and then you have extra money in the bank and want to pay stuff off, do it then. But if you do it before, I call that premature.
What do you do with the money otherwise? You don't put it in the bank?
No, I don't put money in the bank. I'm always dumping it into my single digit, double digit, quadruple digit, or infinite ROIs. So it's either buy more businesses, it's buy more real estate, or it's invest more in myself and then take all those returns, put it back into the reserve tank that's holding all my money, and then go do it again. Dude, this is how Warren Buffett's, this is how the Rockefeller, this is how wealthy people make money. By the way, the wealthiest people on this planet do not do anything that we're advised to do, 401ks, RRAs, garbage like that. They're all doing like asymmetrical risk with high returns with enough room to fail and win enough that they're going to kill it. So, Bill Gates, dude, he leveraged his mom's credit card to start Microsoft.
Did he?
Oh yeah.
I thought he went to IBM and they said pound sand and he borrowed it from some dude. Can't remember. Maybe that was Apple.
It might be legend at this point, but I think he put $20,000 on mom's credit card. I'm going to stick with that story. Google it. I'm right or wrong.
There's a dude in Pahrump here that owned 1/3 of Apple. You heard of that guy?
No.
He lives in Pahrump. I'm going to try to get him on this podcast. He literally loaned Steve and Wozniak the money to start Apple. Owned 1/3 of it. After so long, he told Steve and Wozniak, I don't like the way you're doing. So they bought him out. Uh-oh. Now that obviously is a story in itself. He lost trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, or whatever it is, billions. So then a reporter, because this guy's known, a reporter goes out to him and says, hey man, shit, I want to talk to you about, the fact that you could have been a multi-billionaire and because you owned 1/3 of Apple and yada, yada, yada. He said, yeah, he's an idiot. He's this and this and that. And he was showing paperwork. So he pulled out the shares that were issued to him, signed by Steve Jobs or whoever, signed shares, Apple shares, way back in the day.
Yeah.
The reporter said, hey, would you sell those? And the guy said, and again, he's broke from what I hear. The guy says, yeah, but I'm not stupid, dude. Okay, I know what these are worth. I'd want at least like 100,000. And so the reporter bought the paperwork or the papers for $100,000 and went and sold them at auction for like 1.5 million within like 10 days.
Wow.
What's this guy like? What's limiting this guy?
Well, dude, I try to figure out why I find really amazing. I mean, my team goes through thousands of homes every week to find like 24 that we want to buy. We have this combing process, and people are always like, man, how do you get really good deals? I'm like, I don't know what it is, but 10% of the market just misprices their home. And often we don't know why. It just is the way it is. I have no idea.
Underprice?
Yeah. That's how you get a good deal.
Yeah, the other day I bought an RV with 17,000 miles, 2005. The guy says he wants 40,000 for it. Low book on it, 60.
Yeah, they exist.
I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. I can sell that at the auction for 65.
Yeah,
bought it for 40. Everyone's like, why did he sell it? I don't know. Same thing.
I think it is. It's just like people sometimes know what they want.
So last question then.
You know what though, Brad? Let me amend that. I think people are not nearly as financially trained as they should. There's some things that you shouldn't outsource. And I feel like most of us have outsourced our financial training to financial planners. And it is a big mistake. Some things you just need to get in the dirt, just like what you do here with training people so often and how to succeed in sales. It's like, if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, if you want to become an influencer, or if you want to do something grand, like if you have a big dream that's going to take a lot of people, you better be right now already starting the game of mastering sales, because sales is a game you need to know if you're going to succeed, I think, at anything in life bigger than you.
I would have to agree with that. Now, you mentioned financial planners. I've never met one that's like filthy rich.
No.
Why is that? If they knew what to do so well, why aren't they not rich?
For just a moment, think about this crazy system, right? I mean, financial planners are often usually ultra security minded individuals, and they're preaching a game of safety. So the lower the ROI, the safer you are. Does that sound right to you, Brad? Like,
it makes sense.
It does. I think everyone's been conned into believing that low ROI is safe because
higher the return, higher the risk.
Higher the return, higher the risk. All right. Why do we give our money to a financial planner in the first place? Is it to keep it safe, or is it so that it can compound and grow so that we'll have enough by retirement?
That's right.
Which, by the way, requires risk. And I've never seen a calculation where anything less than an average 16% ROI, not 4, 5, 6, 7, nothing less than 16 will actually get you where you want to go. So I hate to say it, but man, I think financial planners are honestly planning for people to fail because they won't do this one simple calculation. I'll just share this real quick. As a college kid, I had this sucky telemarketing job, learning sales, by the way, but there was a silver lining in this job. I didn't like it. I was in college. I found out I was going to be a doctor. I was newly married, like just lost in my life. And I was talking every day as a telemarketer to people that really didn't want to talk to me. But I got the opportunity in that first 12 months to interview like probably a few thousand people. And they all shared something in common. It was weird because I was in college at the time, right? I'm like 21, 22 years old. These people had been to college 30 years earlier. They had good paying jobs because they went to college. They were 401k'ing, IRAing, house payer offering. Like they were following society's financial plan. And when I looked at what their assets had grown into over 30 years, like some of them had 50,000, some of them had a net worth of 100,000. Some of them had a couple $100,000. Maybe once in a blue moon, someone might have $400,000 or $500,000. And I looked at that and I thought, wait a second. Something is really, really wrong here. You're at the end of your working career and you've saved on average 10 or 20% of what you need. Because here's what a financial planner does. When you finally get to retirement, they say, give me all your money in your 401ks, IRAs, and I'll annuitize it. And the annuity will produce 3%. So you give them $1 million, which was, by the way, way more than the average person has. 3% on $1 million is $30,000 a year. It's like $2,600 a month. And I'm like, wait a second. I worked my ass off and I got $1 million, and you're telling me that if I don't want to eat the principal, the best you can give me is $2,600 a month when I was used to living on a combined income of $100,000 a year? Dude, you're going to feel broke. And then something worse happens. You do live broke. And when you live broke, and if you shop enough at Walmart, you will lower your mindset. That was a funny joke. That wasn't very funny. You become nasty, you become crotchety, you become disenchanted with life because you did society's game plan. You wind up screwed. So yeah, these financial planners, I think that what they're offering people is so conservative that they should just be honest and say, now, just want to level with you, Mr. So-and-so and Mrs. So-and-so, that after you follow my plan for 30 years, you'll wind up with about 13% of what you need. Are you okay with that? Dude, no one wants to face that music, yet that's how they make their money. For me, it's a jacked up system.
Yeah, but if I'm a financial planner, I meet someone that's, multi-millionaire. I wouldn't try to tell them how to plan their financial future. I'd be saying, what the hell are you doing, and try to emulate what they're doing.
Well, Brad, I think that's what you would do. I'm pretty sure that's what I would do. Hopefully that's what your listeners would be doing. But I think so many of us are just sleepwalking through the system.
Dude, let's end it on that. Folks, if you want to wake up and quit sleepwalking through the system, go get his book, Limitless. Go get his book, The Straight Path to Real Estate Wealth. Follow him. You can Google his ass, Kris Krohn with a K, Kris Kroh. And dude, I appreciate you coming in. And folks, share this out if you know anybody that wants to hear it. Force it down their throat, or otherwise bribe them to share it out so we rise up through the ranks. And until next time, keep it real.
Dropping bombs with the real Brad Lee. Subscribe now.